What if Rox D. Xebec's story didn't end at God Valley, but was reborn as Monkey D. Luffy? How would the world react to the return of the most dangerous pirate in history? Rox D. Xebec opens his eyes on Dawn Island and immediately knows something is wrong. The body is small, the hands are small, everything around him is built for someone who has not yet grown into the world rather than someone who has already tried to conquer it. He lies still for a long moment, processing. Then he sits up, looks at his surroundings, and begins the only thing a man like Rox knows how to do when he finds himself at the bottom again. He starts building. He says nothing about who he is. Not to Dadan, not to the mountain bandits, not to anyone. He wears the child's face with the patience of someone who understands that patience is a weapon. He watches Garb come and go, the man who stood beside Roger and ended him at God Valley, studying every visit, every casual display of marine authority, filing it all away behind an expression that gives nothing. Living among the mountain bandits is beneath him in every sense, and he knows it. And he endures it because endurance is simply another form of planning. He trains the body he has been given with a focus that unsettles everyone around him. Dadan watches a child push through conditioning that should be impossible for his age and tells herself he's just a strange kid. She has no idea how far the strangeness goes. By the time Rox is old enough to be taken seriously as a physical presence, the body Garb trained in his absence has become something Rox has rebuilt to his own specifications. The difference between Luffy's natural growth and what Rox produces through deliberate work is the difference between a river and a canal. One shaped by nature, the other cut with purpose. What he does in the meantime is learn. The world has moved considerably since God Valley. Roger died and left the sea scrambling. The Grand Line opened and 4 emperors rose from the chaos. 3 of them, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Kaido, sailed under his flag once. He processed this with the detached interest of a general reviewing a changed battlefield. The board looks different. The pieces have moved to new positions, but the game underneath it all is identical to the one he was playing before he lost. Power, control, the dismantling of a world order built on lies. He was right about all of it the first time. He simply ran out of time before he could finish. This time he intends to finish. Then he eats the devil fruit. It happens the same way in canon. Rox begins testing the fruit, immediately, methodically, with none of the panic flailing the fruit's usual consumers display. He stretches, he compresses, he maps the properties and the limits with the focus of someone who has built power from nothing before and knows exactly what the process looks like. And then through sources only someone with his specific knowledge of the Void Century could access, he begins to understand what the fruit actually is. The Hito Hito no Mi modeled Nika, the fruit of the sun god, the most absurd, the most impossible, the most genuinely terrifying power in the history of the world, and it's sitting inside him. The smile that crosses his face in that moment is not something anyone on Dawn Island has seen on a child's face before. It's cold and certain and completely devoid of anything resembling innocence. He does not see a gift. He sees a weapon worthy of what he intends to do with it. Shanks arrives at the village and Rox recognizes him. Roger's former cabin boy, now a young man, making his own name on the seas. Every calculation Rox runs says potential obstacle. He meets Shanks with a performance of childlike normalcy so precise that not a single person in the village notices anything unusual. He takes the straw hat, he smiles the smile of a child, and he files Shanks away under a category he has maintained since God Valley, people who will eventually need to be dealt with. Shanks sails away with something sitting in his chest that he cannot name. He tells Ben Beckman that the kid on that island looked at him like he was measuring something. Beckman asks what kind of measuring. Shanks says the kind you do before you make a decision. Neither of them forgets the conversation. Rox leaves Dawn Island at the earliest reasonable opportunity. He does not storm off dramatically. He simply goes with the quiet efficiency of someone who has places to be and no interest in sentimentality about a childhood that was not really his. He sets out to build a crew, and here is where everything diverges completely from what anyone expects of a pirate with Luffy's face. He does not recruit with his heart. He does not stumble into people who need saving and offer them a place at his side out of instinct and warmth. He is deliberate, strategic, and entirely focused on capability. He finds Crocodile before the man's ambitions have fully crystallized, sees the potential underneath the pride, and makes him an offer precise enough that Crocodile accepts before his ego has time to object. He finds Daw's bones and offers him the one thing Dawes has always wanted, a captain worth a loyalty. Bellamy, directionless after Doflamingo's fall, gets a meeting with someone who looks at him and tells him exactly what he's capable of. No flattery, no cruelty, just assessment. He is in before the meeting ends. Blueno, operating outside world government jurisdiction after Eni's lobby, brings skills that Rox value from reasons he does not fully explain. And Jewelry Bonnie, whose power over age is something Rox recognizes immediately as strategically extraordinary, joins after a conversation that lasts 10 minutes and leaves her slightly unsettled in a way she finds interesting rather than alarming. This crew does not laugh around a campfire. They do not have the easy warmth of people who chose each other out of love. What they have is mutual recognition of each other's capability, a captain who gives clear direction without wasted motion, and the specific cohesion that comes from everyone understanding exactly what they are part of and why it matters. They move like a machine. Opponents who expect the chaos of a typical pirate crew find something else entirely, and most of them do not have have long to adjust to the difference. The Grand Line takes notice fast. The bounties climb. But the reports coming in about this crew are different from any other rising pirate force. And the difference is what unnerves people. No unnecessary fights, no collateral chaos, every target chosen with purpose, every move serving the next one. The Marines do not have a framework for someone this calculated operating under a pirate flag. Doflamingo, running his underground network, begins quietly monitoring the situation and trying to figure out who is actually in charge of the crew, because it does not move like any pirate crew he has ever watched. It moves like something older than that. Then comes the Emperors, and this is where the story becomes something the current era has never seen. Rox sails into Toto Land without announcement and without the performance of seeking an alliance. He makes no request for a meeting. He simply arrives, which is the most aggressive possible signal to Big Mom and everyone who serves her. Her response is total. The full force of the Big Mom pirates descends on someone who had the audacity to walk into her home uninvited. And it is everything you would expect from one of the foremost powerful pirates in the world. The fight is not what anyone watching expects. Rox does not fight Big Mom the way her enemies usually do, through power or desperation or clever tricks designed to exploit her weakness for food. He fights her the way someone fights an opponent they have known for decades. He knows how she thinks, he knows the rhythm of her rage and the shape of her fear. He knows what she values, what she protects, and what she cannot afford to lose. Every time she moves, he is already accounting for it. Every time she escalates, he has planned past it. The Nika fruit's power underneath his haki produces something Big Mom has not encountered before. Unpredictable in the specific way that only something this powerful and this precisely controlled can be. Her homies fall. Her commanders are pulled away from her. The fight narrows down to the two of them, and Rox presses without pause or mercy. He's not trying to humiliate her or make a point about dominance. He's simply finishing the fight with the efficiency of someone who does not waste effort on anything that is not necessary. When it is over, Big Mom is on the ground. She looks up at a face she does not recognize and finds something in the eyes behind it that stop her breath cold. Rox leans down and says something quietly, something specific, a detail from God Valley that no one alive should know. A moment only the two of them ever shared. Big Mom goes completely still. Then slowly, she lowers her head, not in defeat but recognition. For the first time in decades, Charlotte Linlin bows to someone because she understands exactly who beat her. Kaido is a different problem entirely. Big Mom was about reading someone you know. Kaido is about surviving someone who has spent years actively searching for a death worthy of him. Strategy alone will not reach him. Rox knows this. He does not approach Wano with a plan designed to outsmart Kaido. He approaches with the intention of hitting him hard enough to earn his attention, and then harder still until one of them stops. The battle shakes Wano to its foundations. Kaido comes in with everything from the first exchange. His full dragon form filling the sky. His conqueror's haki rolling off him in waves that flatten the terrain beneath him. The absolute physical dominance that has made him unkillable by every standard anyone has ever applied. Rox meets it without a single step backward. He fights the way a man who has already died once fights, with nothing held back. No thought given to what the fight costs. No exit strategy, and no concern for survival. Pure forward pressure, unyielding and without pause. Kaido laughs. He always laughs when someone actually hurts him. The laugh gets louder as the fight extends, as Rox keeps landing and keeps raising and keeps refusing to acknowledge that stopping is an option. Rox takes damage that would end most fights and uses the momentum of it to keep moving forward. The Nika food transforms the battlefield around them, the rubber reality of it bending and reshaping, turning Kaido's own force back against him in ways that even his experience cannot fully account for. Kaido's eyes begin to change, not from pain, from real genuine interest, the kind he has not felt in longer than he can honestly admit. When Rox finally puts him down, it's not clean, and it is not quick. It is the end of a fight that neither of them could have walked away from early without losing something fundamental about who they are. Kaido lies on the ground looking at the sky. He asks between breaths who Rox really is. Rox tells him. The laughter stops completely. The silence that follows is the loudest thing in Wano. Then the laughter comes back, different this time. Not the performance of someone trying to provoke, but the genuine kind, the kind that means something. Kaido gets to his feet and looks at Rox with the eyes of someone who has finally found what they were looking for after not even realizing they were still searching. He says it simply. He's been waiting for someone worth following since God Valley, and he has no idea it would take this long. With Big Mom and Kaido under his flag, Rox Xebec has assembled something the world has not seen since the night it was dismantled. His hand-picked crew handles the operational precision. The two former emperors bring their full forces under his direction. The combined fleets create a scale of power that forces every major nation in the world to rethink its position at once. The world government convenes in emergency session. The Marines begin immobilizing everything available, and intelligence networks across every nation light up with the same information, converging toward the same conclusion. The name surfaces, not in whispered intelligence reports passed between cautious officials. In the open, Rox Xebec alive in a body the world knows as Monkey D. Luffy, commanding the two largest pirate forces in existence, and a crew built for exactly this purpose, announces himself the way he announces himself the first time, completely, without apology, with the clear intention that everyone who hears it understands what comes next. Next, the people sitting in the rooms where the real conversations happen, the ones who know the old history, who were there when God Valley was erased from the record, read the name and go very quiet. They have been afraid of this specific outcome since the night it was first prevented. The 5 elders convene within the hour and make the same decision they made at God Valley. Full military response. Every available asset. No half measures. Every admiral deploy. CPO activated. And then in a move that speaks louder than any official announcement, they begin quietly reaching out to anyone with enough power and enough reason to stand against Rocks. The desperation behind that call tells the seas everything they need to know. Shanks receives no outreach from the world government. He does not need one. He's been tracking this situation since the moment something felt wrong about a kid on Dawn Island, and by the time the 5 elders are drafting their emergency orders, he has already repositioned his crew. He moves not out of loyalty to the Marines and not out of hatred for Rocks. He moves because he made a decision long time ago about what kind of world he wants to exist in, and he has never been the kind of person to let that decision sit on a shelf when it actually matters. Garp receives the intelligence report at Marine headquarters and reads it without expression. He already knew. Something in him has known since long before any report confirmed it. Since the visits to Dawn Island where the child looked back at him in a way that no child ever quite manages. He has not shared this with anyone. He simply requests assignment to the front, alone, without backup or support. The request is granted without argument because nobody in Marine Command is in a position to say no to the man who stopped Rocks Xebec the first time. The admirals arrive at the conflict zone, and the battle that follows is unlike anything the current era has produced. Rocks fights with Big Mom and Kaido at his flanks, and his crew running the tactical backbone of every engagement. He does not need to beat all 3 admirals outright. He needs to make one thing clear, that whatever wall the world government is putting between him and his goal is not tall enough. Each exchange does exactly that. Akainu pushes and gets pushed back. Kizaru moves at light speed and finds that Rocks has already accounted for light speed. Aokichi freezes the sea and Rocks walks across the ice without slowing down. The admirals are not losing badly, but they're not winning, and not winning against Rocks Xebec is its own kind of message. Then Shanks arrives and the battlefield changes in the way it always changes when Shanks arrives. The Conqueror's haki rolling off him before his ship finishes entering the area. The lower-ranked forces on both sides taking an instinctive half-step back. He stands across from Rocks and the confrontation carries everything between them without needing to be spoken. Roger, God Valley, the Straw Hat, Dawn Island, 2 people who have been on a collision course since before either of them fully understood it. Their clash is brief and devastating and ends without a clean resolution. Both of them walk away. Both of them understand that the next meeting will be the last one, and neither of them flinches from that understanding. Then Garp arrives. He walks through the battlefield the way Garp always walks through things, directly, without ceremony, making eye contact with no one except the person he came for. When he reaches Rocks, he stops. The 2 of them stand across from each other, and for a moment nobody in the vicinity breathes. Garp speaks first, telling Rocks he stopped him once. Rocks answers simply that time he was Roger. The conversation ends there and the fight begins. It is the emotional peak of everything the story has been building toward. Garp fights with the full understanding of what he is looking at, his grandson's face with something ancient and terrible sitting inside it. Rocks fights with the full weight of 2 lifetimes of ambition, finally pointed at the last obstacle between him and the finish line. Garp hits harder than anyone Rocks has faced since Kaido, not because of devil fruit power or special techniques, because of something with no technical name and no counter. The pure, unyielding refusal of a man who has spent his entire life standing between the world and what wants to destroy it, and who has no intention of stopping now. It is not a clean outcome. Both of them leave marks on each other that are not going anywhere. But when it ends, Garp is down, not finished. Garp is never finished. That is simply not something Garp is capable of. But down, and the path ahead is open. The admirals have been pushing back. Shanks is regrouping across the water. The combined force of everything the world threw at Rocks Xebec has slowed him, damaged him, and cost him something. It has not stopped him. Rock stands at the threshold of Laugh-Tale, at the door of the One Piece, the ancient weapons, the void centuries truth, and everything he has been building toward across 2 lifetimes. And he looks at what is on the other side. Subscribe and smash the like button for more One Piece videos.